Hey everybody, welcome to another segment of Tony's show. And today, I saw a site today that made me smile. No, I didn't see anybody, baking a cake or anything like that, or got any brandy or stuff like that. No, no, no. I saw something that really put a smile on my face, and it gave me, uh, it inspired me to do the show even tonight to talk about this. Anyway, I saw this video. The Italians have had enough. They basically use the F word. The new F word, you gotta remember, the new F word is the word fake. Fake this, fake that, fake right off. What the fake? Oh, fake you. What a faking time we're having. I had to throw that in there. But anyway, the Italians decided that they were going to have a weenie roast. And they decided to use one of the 5G towers as fuel for the fire. So Italians burned down 5G tower in La Spezia, Italy on April 6th, 2020. Actually, I should probably, I'm going to download a copy. I never thought about this because this one will not last, I'm sure. YouTube is a little weird these days. Anything that's really good to watch, they take off and they leave the they leave the bullshit down there, like Silly Billy talking about how he wants to vaccinate the world, and how he wants you to have this quantum dot ID technology so that you can be poisoned by quantum dots and then being activating the frequency and taking you out. Silly Billy, I heard today everybody was giving him shit on the internet. I think he needs to be seriously investigated for treasonous activity toward mankind, putting in deadly technology into vaccines, untested, by the way, untested. None of these vaccines have been tested. We're having a coronavirus vaccine race right now. You know why there's such a mad race for the coronavirus vaccine? It's not going to be tested properly. If it's tested at all, I'll be surprised. It's because there's a mad race to get the patent on the coronavirus boogeyman. Ooh, he's coming to get you. He's going to come take you away. Ooh, the coronavirus. The bullshit of the century, gotta say. The bullshit of the century. This is what they're doing. They are running a mad race to get this thing patented so Silly Billy can cash in on his investment. Silly Billy doesn't care about the global problem of viruses or the global problem of fungi infection or bacterial infection or algae infection or mold infection. In fact, he doesn't give a shit about anything except his wallet. He goes to places like India and Africa where they're undeveloped and not as advanced, gives them a computer, gives them some toys. They think he's the nicest guy in the world. And then he says, all I need from you is your body so I can vaccinate you. I mean, what kind of hideous, vile, I wouldn't call him a human being either. I don't want to insult the humans. But he sure as hell ain't a man or a woman. He's not of that species. No man or woman would do this. And I don't know if that many humans would do this. So he's got to be something between demonic and I'm not sure what fallen, really fallen. This is incredible. And what's more incredible is how many people have actually bought into the bullshit. Like they stated in the beginning, they said 60% of the population on the planet would be infected with the coronavirus. That's not quite correct. They should have said that by summer they're going to infect 60% of the population with coronavirus. That's what they are saying. This is something that there's no way you can predict or forecast that kind of thing, especially if you have no test for it. How the hell are you going to test to see that 60% of the population, has been infected? And you notice too, like I said, we went from coronavirus, corona, boogeyman, to COVID-19. They're not the same thing. See, this is another sleight of hand play on words. You see, the media does this so well because they got everyone so mesmerized with so much bullshit from the media that when they do little sleight of hand things that they're doing, you miss the mark. You miss it altogether. You just keep on going from coronavirus to COVID-19 as if they're one and the same. That's an assumption. This is how they have led you into this assumption. There is no test, so how can you say you're going to infect 60% of the population is going to be infected unless you go out of your way to do that? That's infect 60% of the population. Then they'll kiss our ass. They will beg us for a drug. They'll beg us to shove that needle up their backside. Oh, they'll just beg for a pill. They will beg for it. Look at the bullshit going on right now with masks and rubbers. Well, what do you call them? I call them rubbers because that's what they are. You're putting rubbers on your hand. So, they'll have safe sex. I think that's why they're wearing them. But anyhow, but rubbers and the masks. I mean, think of the billions that the drug companies and the manufacturing companies have made on these damn masks that you don't really need to wear because those would never stop a virus anyway. But they got the general population in La La Land. Oh, La La Land. It's so sad. It is so sad that we are dealing today with this level of stupidity, because nobody reads. I saw something so ludicrous the other day and so insane. There was a woman, I think she was in California, I don't know where exactly. And she comes running at this guy at the car and says, "You should be in the house," and blah, blah, blah. Now, we are supposed to have social distancing, right? Social distancing so that we do not spread this so-called fakery, this faking pandemic. That's what it is. It's a faking pandemic. So she is standing, like I say, maybe a foot to 2 feet away from this guy, screaming and hollering at him. "Oh, you should be inside in the quarantine, and you're gonna. Why are you going outside? Blah, blah, blah." I'm thinking to myself, she's 2 feet away, 2 feet away from this guy, yelling and screaming. And you know what he told her? He said, "I've had enough of this bullshit." That's what he told her. And he was correct, because it's all bullshit, all of it. Now the Italians, the English, I think the French, have all so far started a trend to burn these 5G. I'm hoping that trend comes to Canada myself. We got more than enough towers to burn here. This country's full of towers, pillar to post, side to side. We are loaded with towers. You look at a map of Canada, type in cell tower map of Canada, you'll see that we no longer have a country. We're just one big faking antenna. We are so faked up with antennas. What a faking dilemma we're in. It's so fake. And then you wonder why we're getting sick. Not because of coronavirus, it's because our mitochondria is being broken down at a hyper accelerated rate. You're going to have to start using things to rebuild and restore your mitochondria, because as long as these F-tards, and I don't mean fake at this point, F-tards, keep on spraying the sky, keep on spraying the ground. Look, they're putting nanoparticles in the fertilizer. Why are they doing that? This is another one of those experiments that what could possibly go wrong? Introducing a component in the DNA of the soil and of the crops. What could possibly go wrong with this? Why wasn't this not put in a military base or in some sort of base where they could have experimented on this on the great outdoors instead of putting it in the farmer's fields? Unless perhaps they're planning on putting a blight into the soil directly, shutting down or shutting off all bacterial support, you know, so that the plants can't grow, that the dirt can't regenerate, and if anything eats off the earth, will die. Wow. I mean, death is around the corner. Everywhere you look, death is waiting for you. Death is waiting for you. They are looking to harvest people to death. That's what's going on. You can't breathe the air. You can't eat the food. You can't even drink the water anymore without buying specific waters or specific filters. Same with the food. The organic is a joke. You got to grow it your own self. You got to grow it indoors or in the greenhouse or in an aquaponic. Growing things outside today is a little bit ludicrous, I think. That's basically a complete wash, if you ask me. You know, I mean, I've had guys contact me from the United Kingdom tell me that they grew a garden and they looked under the scope and they said the whole garden was a wash because the whole thing was loaded with nanoparticles. If you must grow a garden, which I don't discourage, cover it up. Put some kind of covering over wherever you're planting. That will minimize the buildup of the nanoparticles that you might otherwise have in the system, which will then further cause degeneration and breakdown of the genetic code, DNA, mitochondria, the ATP production, antioxidant production, so forth and so on. May even displace the minerals in your body as a result of the saturation of nanometals that are not minerals, but get into the system and then again expunge the minerals out of the system. This is where we're at today. Death is waiting for you. Death is waiting for all of us. So there's no point being afraid to die. You might want to be afraid of what comes next. You know, I'm of the mindset we all stand before our Maker and our Creator and give an account. You know, we're all going to have to tell them what a ridiculous bunch of dumbasses we were when we were down here. You know, because we allowed a handful of people, demonically possessed or demonically integrated, to have violated the DNA that God had created in all of us. You know, when we're young and we don't know, that's one thing, but when we get older and we're being exposed to the same thing again and again and again, and you're still saying you don't know, something is wrong. Something is definitely wrong. You can't run, you can't hide, you can't stick your head up your backside, you can't stick your tail between your legs. You have now got to face the hardcore reality that your government and all these agencies around are trying to kill you. That would be the best way to looking at this whole situation. Because essentially now the WHO wants to come into your house and take away your children. Now tell me something, those of you who are parents. I used to be a parent a long time ago. I still have a son and daughters, but they're grown and older. But as a parent, would you allow somebody to come in your house and take away your kids? Would you allow somebody to come in your house, take away your kids, and inject them with a programmable vaccine? Would you allow them to do that? Would you just sit there and say, "Oh, it's okay, Junior. You can go with the nice soldier. They'll take good care of you." Or it's okay, you know, Belinda. It's okay. The good soldier will take care of you. Just go along. Would you do that? Would you just accept this and just surrender your children? That would be the equivalent of sacrificing your children to the god of Baal or Moloch. It would equate to about the same. There isn't a government agency in the world that has the right to come in and take away your children. That makes no sense. And if they're going to try to take away your children, you need to involve the whole neighborhood or several neighborhoods to force the military presence out of that neighborhood. And then to further take it to another level, everybody should not only be suing Silly Billy, but everybody should be suing the WHO. WHO, not the WHO music group, the WHO organization, the World Health Organization. Which, by the way, Silly Billy is the biggest contributor of the WHO. Again, World Health Organization. Imagine that. Imagine a system that has been put in place to protect Europeans and the world over from being contaminated with poisonous substances that are now being bought and paid for by Silly Billy. Silly Billy, Silly Billy, Silly Billy. Imagine that, owning the Who. Can you imagine having that much financial power to be able to own and control the World Health Organization? Imagine that. All these edicts coming from the WHO, the World Health Organization, is being directed by a board of directors that have invested money into the World Health Organization, or the Codex Alimentarius. And we're going to listen to a half-wit who doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground? The WHO, the World Health Organization, if you put them in a shoe tying competition and gave them Velcro, they wouldn't be able to succeed. Wouldn't be able to even, come close to even getting into the race. They, like the FDA, like the USDA in the United States, the Ministry of Health in Canada, are all the same. They get bought and paid for. They're like prostitutes or whores on the street corner. You give them some money, they'll give you what you want. They'll show you a little bit of flesh here and there. That's exactly what these institutions do. They take money, they invest the money in drugs, and they buy stock into those drugs. Then they release those drugs, and then they expect the world to use those drugs. What I feel sorry for are those people in the world who do not have the advantages of technology, where they can see these bastards for what they really are. Oh, we come bearing gifts. Oh, my name is Silly Billy. I have a Microsoft computer for your village. I got one for every person in school. Oh, have a computer. What I need from you is blood. Your blood. I need to inject this shit inside of you so that we can, see what's going on. Maybe it might help your village. Who knows? It might be the cure for you. It doesn't, you can go to Africa. Just go to Canada. Look at the natives, the native population. They're being exploited and experimented on as I'm speaking. You go to different reserves in different places in Canada where you have these natives, they are being exploited to death because they're isolated, so they don't know what's going on, some of them. And so what happens? They get a vaccine. This is a planecidal planet. It really is. Planecidal planet means it's a planet that has been hell-bent on killing everybody on the planet. It's terrible. It really is terrible. But the answer to this specific dilemma requires one to be defiant to what's going on and to draw your strength from the Almighty. That's how it works. Believe in God, fight off these bastards, because they have absolutely no right to our bodies whatsoever. Okay, they have no rights to us on any level, shape, or form. They cannot violate our personage. We have laws that have been written to protect people so that they don't have to get vaccines. And this is, like I said, this is such an F-tard way of thinking. Now, this is the FDA, the USDA, the health protection branches in Canada, the Ministries of Health, the Codex Alimentarius, the WHO organization, cannot get around the fact that if I don't get a vaccine but everybody else does, that they would be protected. Now, if this is the case, that if I don't get vaccinated and I can infect you and you are vaccinated, then something is wrong with the vaccine. What are they pumping into you then? What are they injecting inside of you? if I don't get the shot and 10 of you do, and you walk around me, that's saying, if the vaccine actually works, that is saying that if you're vaccinated and I come along and I am not vaccinated, that would mean then you would be protected from whatever I could come up with. See what I'm saying? This is such a horrendous theatrics going on. Silly Billy, with his vaccination program. I wonder what they've got over on him. I wonder what they're holding. What, the sword of Damocles hanging over his head. I wonder what that may be. See, how does a programmer access a biology, military biology of all things? How does that work? How does that happen? Why does that happen? How come when you go eat fruit and vegetables and you see all those black spots and multicolored spotting all over these plants, why do you buy that? It's all loaded with nano. Just because a sign says it's USDA and organic doesn't mean squat. Okay, doesn't mean squat. And as you will see in one of the articles tonight, you'll see as well how they're telling the farmers in North America, and including Canada, not to grow any more cattle and to kill what they had. Can you imagine a government telling farmers to destroy your food supply, destroy the food? It's okay. We'll compensate you. When governments compensate, I gotta tell you, they expect that money to come back. They expect that money to be paid for. They expect you to keep up your end of the bargain and be the good slave that they want you to be and pay off whatever debt or free money that they give you. That's the way it is. That's how it is. Again, this is some of the this is some of the stuff that makes me go, And then you got Silly Billy. Oh, Silly Billy. Wanting to vaccinate you some more and putting the fear bullshit in all of us. Oh, in 10 years we're going to be blah, blah, blah. And we're going to be dying, we're going to be dying, we're going to be dying. Well, you know what? If that's the case, we're probably better off dead then. Why prolong the agony? Why wait 10 years to get hit with another biological pathogen or nanobiological pathogen? You want to know something that's interesting? You want to know something that's really interesting? I'm going to change gears for a second. A lot of things that are happening now in the 1920s happened as well. The only difference between the 1920s and today's times is they're a lot more sophisticated today. They have better tools to be more sophisticated. They have a better they have monitored everything. Now there's no place you can run or hide without having with something of this technology happening. Oh, Nigeria, someone just sent me a feed that Nigeria is also burning a tower. I think this a trend is starting. Yay. Yay. It needs to stop. This technology doesn't belong here with us. I can't wait to see the Chinese go nuts. Can't wait to see Canadians go nuts. Oh, that'll be something. In New Brunswick today, 10 towers were burnt to the ground. Lucky for them, they only had 10. And in New Brunswick, today burnt down 50. Lucky for them, they only had 50. And in Quebec, they burnt down about 10,000 of them. Oh, I'm making up the news as we go along here, just so you bear with me. Oh, in Ontario. Well, I don't know about Ontario. They don't seem to be They got any life in them, but we are seeing some towers burning, so some activity. There is life on that planet. Imagine that, eh? People standing up and saying, enough is enough, we have had it with your bullshit. And you know what? We should have said that 3 weeks ago here in this country, and Canada, and the same for the States. We should have all said, you know what? What kind of fakery are you fooling with us? Don't fake with us. Just do not fake with us. Faking with us is not a good thing. Oh, look at this. Another one on fire. We'll have to put this one in there too. Holy jumping. These guys must have had the same idea having a marshmallow roast. Italy, Nigeria, they're a short walk. Might take you a day to get there, but it'd be well worth it. They put one on the Barbie. They're putting one on the Barbie. Oh, it's funny. It's funny. And the governments, seriously, if they didn't have nothing to fear before, I think they're probably shitting themselves now. This is, like I said, I don't think they had expected or anticipated that people would wake up this quick, this fast, especially on this topic. And people are getting active as well. I think it's high time we sent a strong message to the political leader. Forget the political leaders. That's a waste of time. Political leaders are like prostitutes. Whoever's got the most money can have the better role. That's just the way that goes. But we should start writing to the FDA, the American Health Association, the Canadian Health Association, the health protection branches in Canada, Codex Alimentarius in Europe, the USDA in the United States. We should all have a campaign saying non-confidence. We should send that also to them, non-confidence. And we should send it by the ton, non-confidence. Because they have absolutely none of my confidence at all. I don't trust them. I have not trusted them for quite some time, probably about 30 years. I have found that all the media ever does is hyper extend or overhype something that has no means or merit to it. So, and usually when they do that, they got everybody distracted to that whatever distraction or focal point that is that they've got. And meanwhile, they are destroying or undermining everything around us. So I think everybody should stay vigilant. I think everybody should keep their guard. And everybody should be working together in the neighborhoods, because if they come and take one kid, they're not going to stop. The WHO organization is an organization that's funded by Bill Gates. So anything they have to say, I do not care. He's the biggest contributor, charity-wise, whatever. So he's using them as a charity, so he doesn't get burned with his other businesses. So when we're looking at these things today, follow the dots. Don't just accept the stuff. These guys have never had our best interests at heart. They have never, ever, ever gave a shit about us. The media has never told us the truth. And if they told us the truth on some smidgen of a level, they would have covered it up with a lie. Remember the old biblical verse that we piped to you and you did not dance? We wailed to you and you did not mourn? That should be us and our attitude. Every time they spew out some shit from the media, we should be saying, you know what, I'm not playing. I'm not getting involved. I am not going to bow to this. I am not going to surrender to this. I am not even going to listen to your shit anymore. And if we started sending the same thing to the networks across the country, send them a letter saying non-confidence, you never know where this may lead. And we need to send these things to the soldiers as well, because a lot of soldiers that are going to be involved in this may have second opinion if they do want to get involved. They may write a note to their military saying that they don't have any confidence in them either. Like, what country I mean, what prime minister or president would have National Guard coming into different cities to sit there waiting for the right opportunity to zip everything in the bud? You know, it's a bit of a hideous way of thinking. Very hideous. You know, we have to start thinking for ourselves. Seriously, we have to start looking stuff up for ourselves. Forget NBC, CBS, ABC, CBC. They're all loaded with bullshit. All of them. All they do is lie, set you up, and create the illusion of whatever disaster or melee that they're trying to propagate. You know, so don't be sucked in. Now, here's something else that's interesting, and I want to. This is your homework assignment tonight. This is going to be your homework assignment. I want you all to start looking for articles and ads where victims sounded like they got hit with some kind of fizzing, buzzing sensation underneath the skin. If this happens to you, this means you are now being targeted with 6G terahertz frequencies that are using infrared and microwave. They're digitized, they're smaller, they move faster, and they hit harder. So, and they don't leave a mark. So you may, this is your assignment. You know, I found someone sent this to me from France. Coronavirus patients report feeling fizzing, buzzing sensation underneath skin. What did they put onto these people? And I've said this before in the past. One of the reasons why we don't eat topical vegetables is because these vegetables can now grow nanoparticles. So I got 2 ads in there that you can read how nanoparticles have been integrated or are being made by microorganisms as well. These insects or these animals are basically, growing nano. And that we talked about that 10 years ago, growing nano. So again, seriously, take a hard look before you jump. In Australia, there was a woman there in Australia, I liked her. She was speaking fluent Canadian. I understood her. She was using the F word, but she wasn't using the word fake, I got to tell you. So if you do go listen to the program, make sure your kids are either grown enough where they're using the word, or if they don't know what that word means, don't show them the video. They'll be speaking Canadian before you know it. Oh, just to hear that now. You and that damn Canadian, you got my son using the F word. Now he's saying fake this, fake that. What the fake? Fake right off. Oh, fake. That's the worst thing they're saying. You're doing okay. Growing nanosilver from bacterium. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? We said this many years ago, that they can take nanoparticles, embed them into a genetic sequence of any plant, animal, insect, bird, whatever, and cause a reaction or a cascadance into the DNA. We have been saying that for quite some time, and we start looking at the constructs that can grow. That they can grow and build constructs within these plants, and then you're eating these constructs. Imagine that. That's why I said eat the root-based stuff. It would be a lot better, a lot easier. So, again, use your head, use your head, use your head. We got to be smart. See, once we understand how we're being screwed with, then we can come up with a solution. So we know that they're going to now put into the soil nanoparticles, nano whatever, into the soil. We know this. We also know that we have nanoparticles coming down from us in the sky. We're also now seeing people are complaining about certain reactions that would happen if you had nano activated in the body. This is exactly what you would feel, burning, I wouldn't say fizzing, but more of a tiny little shocks like going throughout the body, things moving through your system. This is going to be more than you think is going to be out there getting hit with this specifically. I got so many people contacting me and giving me their theory. That one guy was giving me a series. I told him I don't want to hear his theories. You don't know nothing from nothing. Just, whatever. And basically, I cut him off because I got tired of hearing the bullshit. When anybody wants to talk about infections, nanobiology, nanotechnology, synthetic biology, there's only one other guy out there besides myself who has the inside scoop on this, and that's Brian 396. So if you're not interviewing one of us, okay, you're talking to him or you're talking to me on these topics at this stage to get the full skinny on what's going on regarding the frequency activation, integration with different particulates, whatever it may be, nano constructs, synthesizing nano through growth, plant growth, so forth and so on. Okay, if you're hearing anybody else giving you their theory, remember several little things so you know you won't get shitted on with bullshit. 1. Nanoparticles cannot be broken down by the body. If they're based in carbon or carbon C60 format, you have absolutely no way to break that down. 0. And in fact, it can embed in spine, spleen, liver, skeletal tissue, and brain. Can hyperactivate you and turn you into a super antenna, superconductive material. So if you were to get hit with a terahertz frequency, that carbon C60 molecule inside your body would have built a network that would fire that terahertz through you like a lightning bolt. Number 1. Number 2, these are programmable particulates. They're not just metal. They're not just a simple metallic material that's falling down from the sky. They are programmable metal material. 1 nanoparticle can hold up to 1 terabyte of data. Okay. 3, you cannot assault this technology inside your body with a direct assault. All you will do is teach it how to defend itself. It will create a morphology, meaning that it will change its ability to be able to be more effective at defending at whatever direct assault you'll have. 4, do not eat any form of bread, grains, sugars in that regard, cereals whatsoever. These foods are super high in nanoparticulates, and if you consume these things, the carbon is the thing that these things are embedded in, which will get it into the system, and now you have conductive material activating and stimulating these nanoparticles to assemble. 5, we have been spraying so many nanoparticles in the air that between the electromagnetic field, the solar energy, the winds, the bacteria up in the sky, it has created a chemistry with these particulates that today we have no idea what some of these things are. They're not even listed in the periodic table. When that comes down on you, you have absolutely no idea how to deal with these new components that can penetrate or permeate through your skin. 6, all nanoparticles are on a nanoscale. They're not the same size. They're not the same shape. In fact, they all have different duties that they perform. So when you're hearing other nonsense, some alfalfa fell in this and some bubble bath fall in that, and we're using borax and baking soda and vinegar to blah, blah, blah. The bullshit just goes on and on and on. So, number 1, you have to disengage the operating systems or the programming in the nanoparticles in order to best remove them with minimized stress to the system. If you don't shut them off, they will fight you to get out. Turn them off, disengage them, wipe the programming out, they come out a lot easier. If you're using any kind of EMP or PMF, if the cadence is high enough or the force is strong enough, you will disengage a lot of these particulates as they come outside of you. So there are ways and means to removing this stuff, but when you're hearing and seeing people are now burning the towers and people are now feeling the situation they're feeling in, remember that is going to be your assignment. I want you to find as much data as you can about people feeling some kind of sensationalized feeling or whatsoever after having the corona boogeyman. And we're going to tie the links to the nano with the frequencies, because these nanoparticles are all frequency activated. If they get activated, then they start their operating system, which is to replicate, repair, and to what's the other one? Replicate, repair, and assemble, and to assemble. They'll replicate themselves, and they get smaller in the replication process. They assemble new nano constructs in the system, or they construct different platforms for them to assemble with. We have inside, all of us have been inundated with these particulates, and this is what happens. So this is why I said you got to use your head. You got to understand that we are not living in that world way back when we were just dealing with metal. We may even be dealing with super bugs, because, and I don't mean viruses, I mean super bugs, that because we've had decades and decades of spraying, atrazine and DDT and, glyphosates and every other shit thing that they sprayed in the field. It has made us all somewhat susceptible to being more infected when we do get an infection, because we've been eating stuff for so long that has had these components in them that once you reach a certain level, a certain stage, and you get activated, guess what? You get turned on. Remember, we are no longer living in the good old days. And even in the good old days, I've seen pictures of even Tesla when he was even younger. It appears that he was also exposed to nanoparticles or nanopoisoning. When you see his face is caved in the way it is and it looks like one big triangle, that's a sign. Some of the things that will happen as well is when you start seeing stuff coming out of the body, don't be surprised if you see things like triangles and other things take shape. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if you see tiny alphabets, tiny numbers, tiny little animals like fish and turtles and whatever. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised, that you are now hearing buzzing noises in your head. Again, don't be surprised. We are dealing with a sophistication on an atomic level. An atomic level. We're talking pico, we're dealing with something even smaller than nano. And when we're talking femto, we're talking something even smaller than, all the numbers. All the numbers. Pico, atto, femto, atto. They get smaller and smaller and smaller. So the only way you're going to get a lot of this out there is by using some kind of either an EMP of some kind to further disengage the programming, or you may need to use a use of some kind of ionizer. That way you can surround the component or whatever and trigger off what you need to trigger off to turn off the programming. Once you turn off the programming, you may have pockets open up throughout your body, throughout your face, neck, whatever, and they'll start dumping out or exuding out of the system nanopoisoning. We need to get on board on this, get on page so that we can, get going and healing a lot of you from these things. Make the bucket, make the triangle, make PMFs, make the descrambler, make the fan, make these things. They will go a long way in helping you, again, stay sustained. Like I said, this is not a picnic. This is not going to go away anytime soon. And as long as they keep everybody distracted with the bullshit of the day, the Corona boogeyman or COVID-19. Ding, 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 COVID-19. Ding, ding, ding. Silly Billy's probably got some money in that too. COVID-19. Ding, ding, ding. Corona, COVID. You can see how they sound alike, don't you? Corona, COVID, Corona, COVID. Oh, they sound all alike. But the media would have you believe it. Media would have you believe it. Oh, those dumbasses will listen. We'll tell them that it's going to rain, smoke and fire tomorrow. And they'll believe it. They'll be outside with whatever. We are in a war. Remember that. We are in a war. So I'm going to remind you again one more time. Make sure you do your homework. Go find articles that indicate somebody's feeling some warm sensation or some skin issue or something that has to do with AI or what's going on. Coronavirus, people are being, taken in and they're having problems. What did they burn them with? What did they microwave them with? That's the question that comes to my mind. Alrighty, I'm going to cut it loose here tonight. I'm a little tired. We have on site people that are doing stuff. Again, support them all. Do whatever you can. If you can't support financially, that's fine. Do what you can to spread the word. You got Aaron Mack, you got Brian 396, you got myself, you got Shiva there. Oh, not Shiva. Hold on. I gotta get my thing there. Where there's let's see. Give me 1 second. Yanni with Shai. Shai's an activist in Israel. He's on the ball. He's trying to be. Anyway, help whoever you can. If you have no money, then try to share the information. Whoever will listen to it. And keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it rolling. And if you are in an area where you've got people who are awake, perhaps you may all want to gather together so that you can reinforce and encourage each other. So that if something does come down the pipe, then at least you have a core group that you can rely on to get you. It might be what you're going to need to get you through it. Just a thought. Make sure whoever you're with is legit. Make sure whoever you're with has, a real heart. Because if they don't have a real heart, if it's a make-believe heart, that'll show up sooner or later. All right. Until the next segment. To your health. Find these people that have been zapped, popped, and shot. All right. You take care. See you in the next show.